Hi Shirley, it's so nice to see you again. How have you been since we last met?
I've been doing good. I've been seeing my daughter more frequently, and everything's been going pretty good at the shelter.
I'm so glad to hear that everything's been going great for you, Shirley. I want to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing today. What I first wanted to start off with is building upon what we last talked about. You left off with discussing some of the main concerns that you're having, and today I want to talk a little bit more about them and write them down so that we have a clear picture of what we're going to address. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea.
I think so too. So as you saw it in our last meeting, we were able to identify 3 main issues concerning you: your daughter's emotional well-being, not having an income, and your current living arrangements. What do you think? Is that an accurate list?
Yeah, that's what's most important to me at the moment.
Okay, great, Shirley. So we've discussed a bit about your past relationship and how moving into a shelter has affected you. I've been wondering about your own emotional well-being. It seems to me that moving from a live-in relationship to now living in a shelter represents a significant change, one that might still be impacting you. What do you think? Could this be something we also address?
No, I'd rather just focus on the issues we discussed last time. I do feel sad sometimes that there's so much going on right now, and I don't want the focus to be shifted on me when my only focus right now is on my daughter.
You don't want to discuss your feelings about what you've been through without first making sure that your daughter's handling everything okay.
Yeah, I just want to make sure my daughter is okay. The first thing I need to do is get my own place right now, so that I can feel like I'm making progress, and I don't want to focus on me right now. I just want what's best for my daughter. I mean, my feelings are not something that I like to talk about. I know I have to though, because I would be lying if I told you it doesn't affect me anymore. That my daughter is what's most important right now.
Your concern is that your daughter's needs will take a backseat and will be overshadowed if we were to address your own needs first.
Yeah, that's my worry.
I can see how important it is for you to make sure your daughter is coping well with some of the changes she's had to adapt to, and I agree that that's something worth discussing about. However, while I see this side of you that's driven in making sure your family is okay, I also see the side of you that is still hurting. Every time we talk about your past relationship, you tense up, you look away, and you tuck your hands between your legs. How about we address your concerns about housing, employment, your daughter first, and jotting down maybe learning some coping skills as something we can revisit later on once we've addressed these other issues that are weighing heavy on you right now.
Well, if we do it in that order, I wouldn't mind eventually talking to someone.
Great, I'll jot that down.
Okay.
So there are many ways to make changes, and sometimes we have to engage in a process of trial and error. Therefore, these set of action steps that we will create together is a foundation that will help guide us. We have to see what works best for you and what will be most effective. Therefore, throughout our time together, we might see that it works the first time, and other times we might have to make some adjustments. But this is a process that you won't be alone in, and we will work together the whole way through. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Okay. I think we agree on the primary issues that we will address together in our work. So let's go ahead and review them and write them down so that we can refer to them as we go along. So first, there is the issue of housing, in which you would like to find a more permanent living arrangement for you and your daughter. Second, the issue of employment, you would like to secure a stable income. Third, you would like to address your daughter's emotional well-being. And fourth, after we've tackled the couple of first issues, you would be willing to discuss more about your own well-being. What do you think? Is this an accurate list of the issues that we will focus upon?
Yes, that's good.
All right, let's go ahead and jot that down. Okay, so now that we have a clear list, let's establish some goals for each one. The first issue is that we have identified is that you would like to leave the shelter and find a place of your own. So let's imagine that it is now some point in the future and the issue has been resolved. What would indicate to you that this is truly a thing of the past?
Well, I guess when I have a place that I can call my own, a safe place close to my parents.
So as you see it, when you're able to live independently with your daughter, you will feel that it's no longer an issue. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you think would be a reasonable period for accomplishing this goal?
I think a month should be fine.
I can see how determined you are in accomplishing this goal, but I wonder if that might be expecting too much. Other people that might be in a situation similar to yours usually gives themselves a bit more time. Let's think about what are some of the steps that you have to take in order to reach this goal. How long do you think it would take to get a job, for instance?
Well, I guess about 2 weeks.
Okay, that seems fair. And how about saving up some money? How long do you think it would take to save up enough money to move out on your own?
Maybe another month and a half.
So as you see it, you may need to give yourself a bit more time.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I didn't take all that into consideration. 3 months sounds like good enough time.
All right, let's give 3 months a try. So our first goal is within 6 months from today, you will move out of the shelter and acquire safe and appropriate housing.
Yeah, that sounds great to me.
Okay, we've set a goal of securing housing within the next 6 months. What do you think would represent a good first step toward accomplishing that goal?
Saving up money once I get a job.
I think that's a great first step, Shirley. I want you to be able to find a place that you feel secure about for you and your daughter. Moving forward, what are the options that we have for temporary housing?
Well, I've mentioned that I have a great relationship with my parents, and I would love to be able to see my daughter every day, so I wouldn't mind living with them for a while. They've been asking me to move in with them. I didn't do it at first because I didn't want my daughter to see me in the emotional and physical state that I was in, but now I'm better and I would be okay with moving in. I just have to ask them first.
Okay, so the next step would be to talk with your parents in the next few days to have your living arrangements set up. On my part, I will locate and have a list of low cost or subsidized housing near your parents' home by our next meeting. Sounds good?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Awesome. So we'll be meeting every Thursday from 12:30 to 1, and in each meeting we will be evaluating the effectiveness of each of the goals and tasks that we have set up for our work together, updating each other on progress, concerns, or any information that you would like to discuss.
Sounds great to me.
Okay, Shirley, thank you for speaking with me today. I'm looking forward to our next meeting.
Thank you.
Hi, Shirley. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I've been doing good as well. Thank you for asking. So tell me, how did the conversation with your parents go last week?
Well, I started to have a conversation with them, but then I didn't get to actually ask them if I can move back in with them.
So you were able to start the conversation. That's a very good beginning. What was it like?
It went good. I was able to tell them that I felt like I've been making a lot of progress, and they were very happy about that. And when I got to the point of asking them, I just froze. I didn't know what to say.
It sounds like the conversation was a positive one. You just hesitated when it came down to asking your parents to move back in with them. If you could rate the conversation, 1 being that it went horrible and 10 being that it went just how you wanted, what would you rate it?
Probably around a 6. I know they'll say yes. They've been wanting for me to move back in with them. I think I just don't know how to say it. I couldn't think of the right words.
So it's not that you don't want to ask them, because it's very apparent that you do. It's more so about how to ask them. Would I be correct in saying that that is the issue?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, would you be okay in rehearsing the conversation with me to see if together we can come up with a way on how to ask your parents?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so I will play the part of your parent and you will play you, okay?
Okay.
Hi, sweetie, how have you been?
I've been doing good. I'm working on my resume to start applying for jobs.
Wow, that sounds great. How's everything at the shelter?
Well, it's been going good.
We're so proud of you and all the steps you're taking on bettering yourself.
Thank you. It means a lot. So I have something I want to ask you guys.
Okay, ask away.
You know, everything's been going good at the shelter. I'm finally taking the step towards getting a job. And I've been feeling a lot better. So I was thinking, only if it's okay with you guys for me to move in with you while I save up money to get a place of my own for Lily and I.
Of course, we've been wanting for you to come back with us. We're so proud of you, and Lily would love to have you around. When will you move back in?
Yeah, there's nothing more that I want than to be around my family. I can move in whenever you guys want.
That's up to you to decide whenever you're ready. Our doors are always open.
Thank you guys. I think I can move in by the end of this week.
That sounds awesome. We can't wait. Let us know if you need help with anything.
Okay, I will.
Okay, so how did that feel for you, Shirley?
That felt really good actually, knowing that you were my parents helped me get the words out without feeling pressured. So now I know exactly how I want to say it.
Shirley, you're saying that you're feeling more confident, but you look down right now after you said that.
I just hope they're proud of me. I don't want to feel like I'm not pushing myself hard enough. Sometimes I see myself as not doing enough.
Would you like to hear how I see it?
Yeah, sure.
I see Shirley, a young single mother who, despite being in an abusive relationship and having to have endured a lot of mental, emotional, and physical pain, is resilient enough to keep wanting to become a better person. I see someone who is taking every step possible to get out of a shelter and get her own job and find a place of her own. I see someone who is willing to put her own emotional well-being aside to make sure her daughter is okay. I also see someone who is here presently using all the resources that she has available to her. So if you ask me, you haven't done enough. You've done more than enough. You've managed to do so much in a short amount of time, and that alone is something to be proud of.
I really appreciate it. My daughter is my motivation, and as long as she is fine, I'm okay too.
That's wonderful, Shirley. I just wanted you to know that I recognize all that you have accomplished so far, and I want you to see that for yourself as well.
Thank you.
So I wanted to give you a list of the low cost and subsidized housing that I have located by your parents' house so that you can start looking over it and getting a sense of what you're looking for.
Okay, I'll look over it this week and let you know at our next session.
So before we end our session, I wanted to sum up the progress that we've made so far with our efforts of accomplishing our first action step. So you were able to start a great conversation but didn't get to ask your parents. However, after role-playing it with me, you feel much more confident that you'll be able to complete this first step. So what we're hoping for is that next week, when you're able to ask them and that we get a bit closer to feeling like it was a 10 conversation rather than a 6 conversation. We'll also continue to monitor the progress on the housing. How does that sound?
That sounds awesome.
Great. Thank you for coming in today. I'm hoping that the conversation with your parents goes great, and I'm looking forward to our next meeting.
Looking forward to it too. See you next week.